Satnam. Hi, welcome to my channel. I am Sangeetakar Ferri. This is a new channel and I've already received some questions on my name. As you will see below, heatherferri.com is my website. So what's the deal? Good question. I was born Heather Ann Ferri with a mission to help humanity heal collective conscious karma, to help elevate the consciousness from darkness to light, and to spread joy and love. In 2009, I received Sangeetakar at the Kundalini Research Institute. And now I'm transitioning into Sangeetakar Ferri. So I'm asking my clients and my friends and the community to call me Sangeeta so I can get used to that vibration. But yes, if you want to learn more about me, you have to log on to heatherferri.com. That's the 20 years of my experience as a healer. Today I'm going to talk more about The Keeper. If you haven't watched the documentary, I highly recommend it. And I'm going to talk more about episode 2 today. So the first teaching tool is, there's this gentleman that talks about being a young boy in the Catholic Church and how one day the priest came in with a gun and set it on the table. And all the boys were staring at it. And this boy had a question. And he had the courage to actually ask it. He said to the priest, "Why are you carrying a gun?" And the priest changed his body language and just looked at him like, "How dare you ask me that question?" The boy never forgot that moment. Years later, that boy turned into a police officer. And the next time he would see that look in somebody's eyes is when he was taking a killer into the station. Powerful teaching moment in this documentary. For me, it says so much. I grew up severely abused, so I know that look in somebody's eyes. And because I was in fight-flight in my home, I had to be on extra alert of how people's behaviors were because it didn't make sense to me. One thing that I teach my students, whether it's in a workshop or privately, is I teach them to understand their body language, understand how their voice is coming across, before they can understand what they're attracting. See, if you were abused, whether that be physical, mental, or emotional, it affected your aura, which we call the electromagnetic field, and that aura sends out vibrations and signals, and basically you're bringing back where you're at. So it was no coincidence during my journey, and you'll read this in my book that's coming out, that I kept attracting my mother as clients, as friends. My mother was my abuser, and so it was kept hitting me in the face because I had to deal with it eventually. And so that's what's difficult with people who come from trauma is first we have to get the trauma out of the connective tissues, literally. Start to work on the frontal cortex of the brain, rewire, so that the signals are sending out something else. And this is how we start to really transfer somebody's life into, well, I think I'm a prime example of that, just somebody that's happy, healthy, holy, and just does not attract drama at all at this point. So another teaching tool in episode 2 is Jane Doe is a a brave soul who comes forward and shares how she's brutally raped by priests and police officers throughout this whole documentary. And I will remember her for the rest of my life because I just bow down to her bravery and her courage. And being a healer for 20 years and coming out with my own story, I felt like I was strong, but now I'm having more of a voice because of her strength. So that's what happens. Is this documentary flipped the switch. It gave victims their power back because it allowed them to have a voice. And it started to point the finger at those we need to point the finger at and look at. The abusers, the system that's covering it up. Not okay. Okay, not going to get upset. So in episode 2, Jane Doe's been brutally raped by the priest, and he basically says, pull yourself together, get back to class. Ugh, great. So she's in the hallway, and she's not sure where she's supposed to go. And right away, as a practitioner, we're seeing the effects of brain damage. Yes. So it's not okay to spank your child, to sexually abuse them, and to think that they're going to be okay is unrealistic. So within 5 minutes, we're already seeing that the brain is not okay. And she's lost in the hallway, literally. And Sister Kathy notices from her classroom and comes out. Yeah, I'm almost choked up by it. Comes out. And she helps her find her classroom again. Well, there's some powerful teaching tools in this. First of all, it's clear that Sister Kathy is awake. She's coming from a pure, conscious place. She's paying attention to these girls, and she's starting to notice the signs of abuse. Why didn't anyone else? I'm so proud of every human being that played a part in this documentary for honoring Sister Kathy's life. I want to give you some powerful tools today. The first tool that I want to give you is a psychologist that was famous for many years. She was an advocate for victims' rights. She was an educator in trying to help the public as well as the systems understand what actually happens to the brain when you're abused. She passed away in 2010, Alice Miller, but she still has a powerful website. So this is her book. She has many of them. I recommend The Body Never Lies. And you can read and learn more about her on alicemiller.com. The power of this book in particular is the brain is a computer chip that we can rewire. So in Kundalini brain protocols, I can rewire PTSD. I can rewire OCD. I can rewire different mental illnesses. But the body, the feelings in the body is what stores the trauma. And so those signals, we need to pull it out of the connective tissues, rewiring and allowing the person to go back to what they would have been if they had not been abused. I'm going to read a quote from Alice Miller's website that I think is really powerful. So just sort of close your eyes and listen to my words. Quote, because almost all of us were beaten, and we had to learn very early that these cruel acts were normal, harmless, and even good for us. Nobody ever told us that they were crimes against humanity. The wrong, immoral, and absurd lesson was wired into our developing brains, and this explains the emotional blindness governing our world. The second reference online, Psychology Today. If you go into their search engine and you just put spanking in, you'll start to learn what happens. Quote, spanking may reduce the brain's gray matter, the connective tissue between brain cells and gray matter is a part of the big central nervous system. And what does this affect? your intelligence, your speech, your emotions, and yes, your memory. We need good science to understand trauma. I'm going to finish with Satanama. I've done it in a few other videos, and this is a powerful medical meditation with Kundalini. If you like research brain longevity, and it will start to explain the science behind what I'm going to teach you today. You can do this in the morning, at night. Even if you don't come from trauma, it's an incredible stress reduction exercise for the brain. So let's review. We're going to use our fingers. They can be on your lap, but I want you to be able to see my hands. We have sa, ta, na, ma. And you press pretty hard. These are pressure points, meridians. And you use your exhale to create the sound. So let's do it together a few times. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Beautiful. So tune in to the next episode of The Keepers and subscribe below and pass my channel on to friends and family. Leave comments, questions. I would love to hear what you have to say. And to finish, I just want to say, blessings.